guys, and welcome to Kicking It with Kristen.
Yeah, young Metro, don't trust you, I'm gonna shoot you.
Hammer time, they can't touch me, hammer time, hammer time, they can't touch me, hammer time, bedtime, I ain't never had a bedtime, headline, boy, you looking at a headline, hammer time, they can't touch me, hammer time.
Today's episode is all about women's golf. I spoke to a former competitive golfer, Miss Alina Lee, and two current professional golfers, Miss Kayla Jones and Alexis Belton. We get to meet them a little better, and then they give us their insight on certain disparities that they've experienced while playing the sport and just in life in general. So, without further ado, let's kick it.
All right. Okay, so when did you guys first start playing golf, and what made you interested in it?
I started playing golf when I was 5. I started my interest because my dad, he was always at the golf course, so I would kind of tag along with him. We didn't really bond on too many levels, so I had to figure out something that we could do together, so that's just an activity we've done together my whole life.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got into golf because my health teacher said that they needed an extra player. And I was like, no, that's not for me. That's for old people. And then he was like, well, you get out of school all day and you get free food. And here we are today.
I am the one.
So,
There we go.
no, but it was really great because my dad used to play before, he had a family and kids. And so it was a great way for us to bond.
Nice.
On both sides, so yeah.
What made you guys decide that you want to play golf professionally or competitively?
Oh, that's a good question, Kayla.
You put me on the spot. I think just my personality in general is pretty competitive, and growing up playing golf with my dad, he always said that competition was the best way to get good at something, so that was my drive there.
Yeah, I think two things. One, I've noticed that there hasn't been a lot of people that look like me that have played, and so wanting to, even if I don't make it, or even if I didn't make it, in that mindset of being just an example of saying, like, you should at least go for your dreams. And then the other thing is just, like, I love being competitive, so
We're not a team, this is a competition.
to be able to be competitive as long as I can play professionally, was the goal.
Money.
Oh, that's
All right,
funny.
all
Go
right.
in the hole.
All right.
Woo. So we gotta put his name on his bag now.
So Miss Kayla, you went to Florida State, and Miss Alexis, you went to Texas Wesleyan.
Yes.
So what made you guys decide to go to each of your colleges respectively?
My college search. I was really looking for a good balance between academics and golf because I knew that I wanted to keep up with my golf game so that I would have the opportunity to turn pro after I graduated. But definitely wanted to get that degree and get good grades so my parents didn't kill me. That's why I picked Florida State. I loved the program, and I just felt like I could really see myself getting better. The practice facility was awesome, but there was room for growth in that, so I feel like I played a big role on the team as well.
Right.
Well said. Thank you. I picked Texas Wesleyan. I didn't have a lot of opportunities at a lot of colleges, and so it was a college that I could go to and play a lot of golf and get a lot of experience, which was great. One thing that I did have to do was I had a scholarship to play basketball at a D1 level.
A baller.
So, like, having to humble myself to say, like, what's going to be best for me as not only, like, a golfer, but and education-wise, and going somewhere that, I could get opportunity on both ends. So that was a small NAIA school.
I asked Miss Alina a similar question, and she made a good point. If I could go anywhere, it would not be in the snow. But as some background, when making this decision, Miss Alina was 14 years old. She had already graduated high school and was ready to take the world by storm before she was even old enough to get her driver's license.
Yeah, so I was ranked pretty high, and I was recruited by pretty much all the teams.
Right.
Flexing.
At the time, Duke was ranked #1 and UGA was ranked #2 in the country.
Okay.
So I went to to visit both of them, but I actually didn't like Duke very much, and it was just like too cold. And I visited during the winter time, and I was like, used to Florida weather, and I was in Georgia at the time, and I was just like, I don't want to have to deal with snow in the winter.
She's got a point.
So I decided, and we were living in Georgia at the time, so I had both an academic scholarship and a golf scholarship to UGA. And I had like a friend who we went to high school together, and she was going to be on the golf team the same year as me. So kind of like just a bunch of different factors, I decided to go to UGA. And
Both of you guys made history at your respective colleges. Miss Kayla, you were the first ever freshman to win their first tournament when you tied for first at the Memorial Invitational. And Miss Alexis, you were the first ever All-American at Texas Wesleyan. How did you guys feel when you found out about that?
I was just happy to be playing in the tournament. I was definitely really nervous as a freshman. I was still trying to figure out where my classes were and everything, and then had to hop on the plane and go play in Texas. And I remember being on the first tee, being scared I was going to miss the ball. I ended up leading the tournament and then winning it, and it was just a really special moment for me. It kind of proved to myself that I could do it. Obviously, going to college to play golf was a big step in my life, and it was a challenge that I took on, and that moment was pretty huge for me because it kind of showed me what I was capable of.
Yeah, I think that I didn't know that, so that's cool.
That's awesome.
Luckily for me, I was surrounded by history makers. Miss Alina made history as well. She was the youngest collegiate medalist in women's golf history at the age of 16 when she played for UGA. And by the way, what we just witnessed, that's a physical definition of anything for the gram.
So Miss Alexis, you majored in mass communications. So if you weren't a golfer, what would you want to do?
Oh, that's such a great question. I think in college, I would have said I wanted to do some type of sports journalist. Now that I've golf has given me the opportunity to see so many different jobs, that exist out in the world. I would love to be maybe a CEO of a company, or work for a nonprofit, or do something to really help minorities and women understand the game of golf and how to utilize it to benefit them, as well as just learn the lessons of life that golf teaches. So, yeah.
Wow. And Miss Kayla, you majored in marketing. What would you want to do if you weren't a golfer?
I love marketing, and I'm such a nerd for marketing, so I think that I would end up in that field for sure.
Nice.
Miss Alina has already chosen what she wanted to do once she was done playing golf competitively. And let me tell you, she did it.
I have my own law firm, and I serve as outside general counsel to small companies that are in the marketing, tech, and consulting space.
Disparities can occur in a lot of situations and manifest in different ways for different people. Miss Alina had a very interesting perspective on the discrimination that she felt due to her age, and she kept it real.
Did you ever experience ageism?
Oh yeah, that's continued. That has absolutely continued throughout my legal career. I feel like, and it's hard to really know what's going on in people's heads, right? I just know what I feel, and I know what I see how my colleagues are treated versus how I'm treated. But I've been practicing law for over 9 years now, but I look young, and I am young, but I've been practicing law for over 9 years. I know what I'm doing.
She got it, no doubt.
and I just felt like every job I've just had to claw my way into just being recognized for my abilities.
Kayla and Alexis put a more positive spin on their answers, which can always be appreciated.
You're going to experience that because we're humans and people are people.
Right.
But at the same time, I've experienced so many more positives. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think I've kind of felt the same way. It's really nice to be a representation, as you were talking about earlier. Growing up, I didn't have a ton of that. So there weren't a ton of girls playing the game, or especially girls that looked like me. So it's kind of stepping into that role has felt like a pretty big responsibility, but also the biggest blessing in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
Sure.
In the 2021 Women's US Open, the pot was $5.5 million. For the Men's US Open, the pot was $12.5 million, over double the amount of the women's tournament. The winner of the men's tournament, John Rahm, also won double the amount of the women's winner, Yuka Sasso. As current professional golfers, this really hit home for KJ and AB, and their take is one of optimism and honesty.
I think that we've seen this in almost every area of sports, and then if you look at business as well. But the good thing is that a lot of people from both the women's side and the men's side are trying to close that gap. Obviously that takes a lot of time, but just to have tournaments with purses for the winners this year be at $1 million is something that the LPGA has never seen. So I think we're going in the right direction, but there's definitely a lot of room to grow.
And I think a lot of that growth is just coming from the awareness of it, because a lot of people don't know even those facts that you just spit out there. Sometimes it can be really hard thinking about that disparity, but like Alexis said, I mean, everything's moving in the right direction and people are starting to gain some knowledge about it and work on solving those issues, so that's a pretty big deal. And it has happened in other sports. We're just catching up.
Hey guys, future Kristen here. I'm so happy to say that the 2022 US Women's Open will now have a pot of $10 million, which is double the amount of last year's tournament, like I mentioned before. It is so exciting to see the progress is in fact being made. PSA, I want you viewers to really listen to this next part and implement it into your life, because something so easy can make a significant change.
The other thing is just educating people that them watching the LPGA and tuning in and buying tickets and just supporting as a fan, that goes a long way to help close that gap.
The statistics that you're about to hear are pretty sad, and Miss Alina spit facts that are unfortunately too true. This mindset needs to change, and quickly.
On the Sunday of the 2021 Solheim Cup, there were 878,000 viewers. On the Sunday of the 2021 Ryder Cup, there were 3.5 million viewers. This is also the least watched US-based Ryder Cup since 1997.
Oh, wow.
In your opinion, why do you think so many more people watch men's golf than women's golf when the concepts are exactly the same?
I think there's just this perception that women aren't as good of a golfer, aren't as impressive as male golfers, frankly. I just think sadly in our society, women golfers are just seen as less talented than male golfers, and I think that's why.
This next answer from Alexis and Kayla, I can absolutely vouch for. Women's golfers are so incredibly sweet. At the tournaments that I've been to, after each of their rounds, the golfers come to engage and talk with the fans. The #1 golfer in the world gave my little brother a signed golf ball, and I got one from Danielle Kang. There are also players on tour who look like me. Shout out to Mariah Stackhouse. All around, it's a great experience, and I absolutely recommend going to women's golf tournaments.
LPGA players are really, really good with the fans, and so the male players are fantastic with their fan, and they have a lot of fans. But I think that the LPGA players are just a little bit more intentional and really, really there for every single fan that comes out there, especially for the little girls and the little boys that are out there.
And I think it comes down to relatability too. Like you said, we're all playing the same game, but sometimes it can almost seem like the men, watching them is like a treat because it's almost a superpower. Like, people don't hit it like Bryson DeChambeau very often. You're not going to see that at your average golf course. But for the women, there are so many things that you can learn and implement into your own game because of the way that we play, and I think that that's super interesting, and it's definitely something that the viewers can take away.
For sure. And also, it's one of the most diverse tours that exists, and so I think you can go out to LPGA event and literally meet someone from almost every country, which is something that's really
cool.
interesting.
We ended these interviews on a more positive note, and I got to learn everyone's faves. I also think that we should all aspire to have the confidence of Alexis Belton.
Who's your favorite golfer of all time?
I need some time to think about
You do? Okay. Alexis Belton.
I love that. I've got to go with my obvious answer and say Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods, y'all.
Just because of what he did for the game. It really can't be denied. That's really cool. Everybody's awaiting his comeback right now, and that just says so much about the influence that he has over his fan base.
Hey guys, future Kristen again. I just wanted to say that Tiger Woods has officially made his comeback. He played in the 2021 PNC Championship with his son Charlie Woods. They placed second and shot 25 under par. Tiger did have to use a golf cart to get around at some points, but he was still able to walk a little bit. It was with a slight limp. After his horrific accident, it was so exciting to see him walking, let alone playing golf.
I also love Nancy Lopez. I've
It's almost like if I missed a putt, I was surprised.
Yeah, no.
had the opportunity to meet her a few times, and she is just an awesome person and is really open about her experience on tour. So I like her a lot.
Well, the first person, I guess I'll do a male golfer and a female golfer. My favorite male golfer is actually not famous. His name is Vaughn Taylor, and he was ranked like around 100 in the world for like 7 or 8 years or so. He's won a few PGA tournaments, and he's finished in the top 5 in like 10 tournaments or whatnot. But when I was 13 and 14, I had a chance to like practice with him and be like friends with him.
That's cool.
And he just has like a very kind and gentle spirit, and he also has like, in my opinion, like the most perfect golf swing I've ever seen in my life, and I have a very high standard when it comes to good golf swings. Yanni Sang, who was ranked #1 in the world for a while. She's from Taiwan, and she was also a friend of mine.
Oh, it's cool.
And I had known her since I was like also kind of 14. I peaked when I was 14. But Yanni, she was like always different, right? She was like a tomboy, and she had like a boy's hairstyle, and she hit it far. I don't know if you remember this, but she hit it further than Michelle Wie. Like, she and Michelle Wie were in the finals of, I think it was the U.S. Public Links, and I can't remember what the results were, but you know, they were, one of them won and one of them was runner-up for the like the full tournament. And it was like the two of them were the two longest players off the tee, period. She hit it, like I said, she hit it the same distance or further than Michelle Wie. And I just like so admired her because she did not like fit gender stereotypes or gender norms. She did not care.
Yeah.
And you know, she was gonna hit it just as far as any guy, and she did. And, oh man, she was such a badass. And like to this day, no woman golfer that I've ever met, any pro, like makes, besides maybe Inby Park, makes like the type of contact that she makes, like just like crushes it.
Yeah.
But the ball just sounds different when she hits it. It's really something to behold. And she is a fierce player. But again, also just like one of the kindest people that I know.
Now we're going to hear about KJ's and AB's missions, and they're going to give us all some sage advice.
So I've seen and heard that you guys are pretty outspoken about what you believe in. Is there anything you would like to say about your mission or purpose?
I think it's important to have a why behind everything that you do. Obviously, I love the game of golf, and so that's kind of where I've driven all of my talents. But definitely, my reasoning behind playing is being an example. Sometimes being the example that I didn't have growing up, and being a good representation. I'm huge on bringing diversity to the game, and inclusion is really important to me. And just making everybody feel welcome and growing the game.
Yeah, I definitely believe that everyone is given a gift, and to use that gift to serve. And so the game of golf, like, I absolutely love it, and I will play it as long as I can. But through that, I think my goal is just to serve others well with the platform that I'm given, and also just bring joy. Like, I love to make someone smile, or be able to just have those conversations. But also diversity and inclusion is huge, and just being representation. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the game has brought me so many opportunities, and I mean, the real measure of success is not necessarily what you do with those opportunities, but who you can bring up behind you. So I think both of us have that kind of mission and goal to kind of reach back and grab a couple other people and bring them along with us. So.
Yeah, I definitely say, like, when people, I know, support me, and I'm not trying to speak for you, but I would speak for you in this, I would say, like, when they support us, I hope they know that they're not supporting golf, but they're supporting, like, making a difference in this world.
So what's some advice that you would like to give to the viewers watching?
Say yes often. I think just taking advantage of the opportunities that we're given is so important, and knowing that you can do it and being bold. I always say everything is figure outable, so just take that first step and then work your way up from there.
Yeah, spell figure outable. Wow, I would say when in doubt, dance it out.
Yeah, just have fun. That's another thing. I mean, that's my golf advice too, because I think a lot of times we can get caught up in, you know, the stress of it, and be really hard on ourselves and have immense pressure. And I think just reminding ourselves that it's a game and you play games, they're meant to be fun. So yeah, just have a good time with what you're doing, and the success comes along with that.
I would say definitely life in general is such a journey.
It's the climb.
And I think oftentimes, just even thinking about some successful moments that I've had, and getting to the end result and being there and not feeling satisfied because I didn't enjoy the journey and I didn't utilize that to the best of my ability through serving, through you know, taking in the little moments and the little wins and learning from the, you know, hardships or whatever that may be. So really enjoy the journey, and also don't limit yourself to your own goals, because as you grow as a person, you'll realize there's so much more out there that exists. And so be open to, you know, if you have a simple goal of just like, I want to, you know, help the youth, and that can take you so many different ways than just saying like one specific thing. So I'd say that.
That's great advice. Thank you.
This last short segment is all about awareness. I asked people at golf courses to name as many current top 10 men's golfers as they could in 30 seconds. And then I asked them to do the same thing with women's golfers. Here's what happened.
Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas. I know them all, but okay.
Okay, so that's 3. Can you name as many top 10 women's golfers as you can in 30 seconds?
I cannot, because I can't pronounce most of their names.
We heard an excuse that the names of the top 10 women's golfers were too hard to pronounce. So I'm going to read the list of the top 10 golfers so we can see just how hard it actually is. Number 1, Nelly Korda. Number 2, Jin Young Ko. Number 3, Lydia Ko. Number 4, NB Park. Number 5, Se Young Kim. Number 6, Nasa Hataoka. Number 7, Minji Lee. Number 8, Yuka Saso. Number 9, Hyojo Kim. And number 10, Brooke M. Henderson. I think it's safe to say that this really was just an excuse and he didn't know who they were.
Why you always lying? Oh my God.
Can you name as many top 10 women's golfers as you possibly can?
I can't.
You can't.
I know many of them are from Korea.
Yeah.
We heard another excuse that many of the top 10 women's golfers are from Korea, so he didn't know who they were. And there are top 10 women's golfers from Korea, but the majority of them are not. Nelly Cordes is from America, Lydia Ko is from New Zealand, Nasa Hataoka is from Japan, Minji Lee is from Australia, Yuka Saso is from the Philippines, and Brooke Henderson is from Canada. 6 out of the 10 top 10 women's golfers are not, in fact, Korean.
We're looking at the difference between, like, disparities between women's and men's golf. Yeah. And so everyone I've asked so far, they haven't been able to name.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up.
As you can see, other than our 2 MVPs, Justin Martin and Vinny Pelosi, no one was able to name a single top 10 women's golfer.
The top in the world?
Yeah.
Jenna Wanatondo, MB Park. Let's go with, she's not, Danielle Kang. The Corda sisters. Cordas are not up there in the top 10?
There's only one.
Oh, Nelly? All right, Nelly's up there. Oh, what's that Kim girl? God, I forget. Is it Sangwoo Kim? I'm gonna say Jane Park because she's a member.
Name in 30 seconds, can you name as many top 10 women's golfers? Current world ranking.
Okay. Jin Young Ko, Nelly Corda, Danielle Kang. What's the Arya Jitano? What's my girl's name? Lee Six. Jung Lee Six. Lexi. No. Jessica's not top 10, is she? Jessica Corda? Celine Boutier is not top 10, is she? Minji Lee's not top 10, is she?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's it for today's episode. I hope you learned something, and I hope this helped bring awareness to some of the problems that we see in women's golf. So goodbye, and thanks for kicking it. Peace.
Man, I don't know.
KJ.
Atlanta doesn't have any T's in it.
But fat does.
Nice.
The LPGA has such a great, that's not what I was going to say either, but I'll, rewind, okay.
Yeah, that's my favorite golfer.
Yeah. I don't know what the kids do these
What do the kids do these days? They're like this. Is that a TikTok dance?
What do the kids do these days?
This. Shoot.